Hi, everybody. It is me, Tiffany, Totah, marriage and family therapist. I thought I would hop on to see who was around for this really quick live. Yesterday on City Sunday, I did the taboo of the mother wound. And part of that, welcome to everybody who's joining. I'm here real quick before I jump on my client calls all day to start. Hi, everybody. Hey, B. Hi. Thanks for joining. I am here to talk about yesterday on City Sunday. We had such an amazing live talking about our mothers and the mother wounds. And I was left this morning feeling like I wanted to come on real quick to do a part two. Now, healing, if you have any issues with your mom, and I know as a culture, it is really difficult to talk about our mothers in any negative way. I understand that. Many times we can love them and recognize their limitations around what they were able to emotionally do for us. Now, this is about taking accountability and responsibility for your own life. I've been hearing so much from people on these demands on our Middle Eastern parents to fulfill not just Middle Eastern parents, on your partners, on your friendships. Hi, everybody. Hi, I think it's Hadir. Saleh, good to see everybody who's joining. I'm talking about the mother wound. And yesterday on City Sunday, we had an amazing live. And I appreciate everybody that came on to talk about the complicated relationships that we have or can have with our mothers. They could be wonderful providers. And you often wonder that maybe they didn't have the skills to provide the nurturance that you need growing up. And this is how can you take accountability and responsibility for your life when it starts to impact how you see yourself, perhaps your ability to have intimate partners or being able to have healthy, loving relationships. This mother wound can make it very, very complicated for you. And this is where practicing self-compassion is recognizing when you're pulling away from people when they're trying to be close to you, right? And it's recognizing when you're in relationship, if you're have these high expectations or demanding things from people, the issue that comes with that. So let me take a look at the comments and see who's joining. Mira, my assistant's not here, so bear with me, you guys. Let's see, any comments on the mother wound or any questions? I did a whole live yesterday. You will see the entire video on YouTube, but I wanted to talk about how do we heal from this wound? And many times we heal from this wound. Hi, Somalia. Good. All right. Somalia's in the house. Kwali, very good. Thank you. I love seeing people from different countries. Oh, the father wound. Gee, I'm going to talk about the father wound next Sunday. We can't forget the dads. Next Sunday on City Sunday. So I will definitely talk about how the father wound impacts both men and women because it can function a little bit differently. Food and feeding replaces actual love. Yes, thank you, CC Cheb BS 44. Thank you so much. Absolutely. That's the providing. And they were very good. We come from a culture that's so awesome at providing. And what I'm hoping and why I created this community is to say, can we do a better job of nurturing one another, staying present to one another, healing together as a community? That is so important. Hadir, what is the name of your page on YouTube? It's Tiffany Totah. So you can see that in the in my bio. You can find all the links to my YouTube. So it's Tiffany Totah MFT. The topic, Musa, is yesterday we talked about on City Sunday the mother wound. So we're going to talk. So I just thought I'd hop on real quick before I see my clients on just expanding on this a little bit on how we can heal from the mother wound. And it really is about how does this impact me in my life? And it's going to show up in your intimate partnerships. It's going to show up in your ability in your work. It's going to affect so many aspects of your life. And for you to do like a survey or for you to take a look, Where am I minimizing myself? Where am I feeling insecure? Where am I not taking risk? If you know that you meet somebody and they're nice and kind, but your body wants to run for the hills, typically that comes from the mother wound or the father wound, but we'll talk about that later. So the other piece is many times we're demanding, I hear this so much from Arab young adults or Arab adult children, where they're demanding from their parents something that their parents emotionally are not able to give. They're not able to give that. Many of them, because of their trauma histories, their immigration experiences, they didn't have exposure to mental health. That's not even a thing. Stigma is still really, really high. And a lot of issues they don't address because their survival is based on putting everything in a box and putting it in a corner. So one of the things I'm going to encourage all of you guys to really manage your expectations around your parents and their ability to be able to heal from their wounds. Many of them, when you force people to address their trauma, that is terrible. You cannot force people to address their trauma. And I was like this too with my mom before I learned all this stuff, where it was like, Yama, take a look at this, take a look at that, explore that. And I realized, oh my gosh, the demand ana hatit aleha was so inconsiderate. And this is where for you with your families is to show some consideration for your parents and their trauma histories. And they may not want to be able to talk to you about it. This is where if you approach it from a place of curiosity, what was it like you growing up? Now, many times they will paint this beautiful picture. I remember my parents would talk about el warak tawali, ul shay, uhaku, all this stuff about their experiences growing up for Palestine. And I had this amazing image in my mind of like this fantasy land. Then I go there and I'm like, and so, but my parents needed to have these memories in order to cope with the trauma that they had dealt with. And it's not to say they didn't have some good memories, but they exaggerated it fully and it was one of the ways that they were able to cope with their trauma. So think about, I wish I could speak Arabi. I'm so sorry, you guys. Really, my platform was for Arab Americans, to be honest with you. Bahki Arabi shwaya, but not to the degree that I wish I learned growing up. That's how we assimilated here in the United States, unfortunately. So my apologies for that. But going back to how do you heal with your parents and how do you be able to talk to them in a way where you can gain some understanding? When my mother finally opened up about what was happening, it was like my whole childhood illuminated. I was able to understand why she engaged in certain behaviors, and I was able to have more compassion for her as an adult. But if you're still in your rage and in your anger towards what you didn't receive growing up, I understand that. And you need to feel what you need to feel. But if you think that you're going to have your parents heal that for you, I'm letting you know that that's your time spent reflecting within yourself to say, my anger towards, and this is about the mother wound. This is what we're talking about. My anger towards my mother, how do I find the things that I did receive from her? So when I wrote down 10 things I was grateful for my mother, and she and I are quite close, and she's honest about her limitations and where she failed us in many ways. And she harbors a lot of guilt and shame. And I said, Yama, it's not on you to heal that for us. We have to heal that for ourselves. And so being able to acknowledge the 10 things I felt grateful for her may be a nice exercise. Or if you're not there yet, you want to write down, what are all the things I'm resentful for towards my mother? And you do a list of that. Then from there, you say, what responsibility do I have in that? Now, I'm not talking in extreme abusive cases. Let's put that aside. We're not even going to talk about that. This is just what I call your garden variety heir apparent. They're difficult. Sometimes they could be very challenging. I'm talking about those parents. Let me take a look at the comments. Let's see. It's not even that they should heal us. It's that they're still judgmental. Yeah, that's right. That's why your healing process, if you're going to try and talk to your parents about your own healing process, many times they're not going to understand that. And they may put you down for that. So I say your healing journey, just have it be for you. And if you could share it with one or two friends, that's really, really good. I have had friends that we talk about these things and we heal my bod. So find the people that you're close to be able to talk about these things, but to try and talk about it to your mom, who is so steeped in her own trauma, her own limitations, her own guilt, her own shame. I'm sorry. I don't think that's going to be helpful for you. Let's see. Let's take a look. And if anybody has silly comments, I wish Mita was here to delete them. I really want us to have a healthy, engaging, loving conversation. And sometimes the comments can be so bizarre. Let's see. Confusing dynamics sometimes of feeling like the adult while being kept infantile. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. In one sense, you're taking care of your mother. In this case, we're talking about the mother wound. This may also be the case for your father, but let's focus on the mother wound. You're healing your mother. You're emotionally taking care of her. You're physically doing things for her. You are taking care of things in the household. This goes for both men and women. Okay, because I know a lot of the women chime in like, Islam, they don't do nothing. I said, no, this goes to both, okay? With that said, and then if you want to make a decision for your own life, right, they completely infantilize you, like you cannot make any decision for yourself. As an example, at 10 years old, I would take 2 buses. I would open up my father's store. I would walk 2 buses, open up his store at 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 years old, mind you, 10, like my daughter, when she was 10, Amri, if I let her walk down the street. 2 buses, walk down the street. I took care of his store. I opened and closed at 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, all to 18 years old. I wanted to go away to college. You know what my father said to me? He said, Inti, you're not mature enough to go away to college. But I was mature enough at 10 years old. That's that point. I'm taking care of age inappropriate responsibilities of his business, right? Opening, closing, the Masadi, all that at a very young age. With very little guidance. And then you're doing this all throughout your life. You're taking care of all these adult responsibilities. But then if you want to go away to college, if you want to pursue a career, all of a sudden, either you're not mature enough, you're, I don't know, sometimes they say mean things like Hamad or Hamada, and they say these things like, oh, you don't know nothing. Yeah, that's a huge dynamic. And it's that's why you knowing yourself is so important. You having that awareness that that's a projection that they're putting on you. But many times as adult children of Middle Eastern parents, we're internalizing it as, no, I'm not smart enough to go away to college. I'm not good enough to pursue this job or this career or this creative pursuit. Even though you have all this evidence of taking care of our families in, again, age inappropriate, the levels of responsibility is a blessing and a curse, because as adults, man, we are rock stars in our jobs, rock stars in school. Like we handle a lot. We are over functioning in general. And then there's some of you who may not be over functioning. You're so debilitated from all the responsibility. You may be in a fetal position in the corner of your room. And I completely understand that. And you don't want to do nothing. You guys see where I'm going with that? So let's take a look at the comments. There's so many, but I don't know where Mita is to help me here. Okay, there's some silly comments I'm just going to ignore. Yes, C wrote parentified and infantilized simultaneously. Yes, and this is, how do you not infantilize yourself? How do you not buy into some of the messages that we received growing up in not being good enough. I am a failure, because you cannot heal that mother wound for your mom. You cannot. I tried healing my mother my whole life. And for the young people out there, I'm letting you know, Allah, please, you cannot heal. Don't spend the next 30 years of your life trying to make her life peaceful or making her life easier, because she may be invested in this dynamic with your father. She may be invested in her victimhood. She may not even have the skills or the tools. And you may say, here, mom, here are tools. Here's this, here's that. And she will triple down, quadruple down, because she's not ready for that. She is unsafe. It's taken me 30 years to get my mother to the point for her to at least fakir fi halha. Okay? For her to at least think about herself just a little bit. Do not go down that. I will encourage you. Spend your time with your mom, depending on the relationship, just listening to her, staying present to her. Even if she's tough-to-thing, the same thing over and over. You hold space for your mother. You hold space for her. And then, of course, when it gets too much for you, you go, okay, mom, it was nice talking to you. I have to go. And this is where pulling your energy back, you're also healing that part of you, so that you're not going to get involved with the person that you, romantic partner that you have to heal, trying to have that corrective emotional experience. Let's take a look at the comments. Hello from far away. Hi, Sammy. I don't know where you're coming from. How do I examine childhood trauma without feeling like I'm victimizing myself? That's a really good question, C, and thank you so much for asking that. It's about being gentle with yourself, and you may have been victimized. However, I come from a place of empowerment. Like, I can focus on what my parents did to me, how they limited me, how all the decisions that I made were based on what they wanted versus what I wanted. Don't focus on, that's how you victimize yourself. Then you're going to stay in this angst or this loop of resentment. That's what I'm saying. Take a look at the resentment, saying, where could I have taken responsibility? And sometimes we have to make hard choices. I made choices in my life that, my family did not like at all. And there was so much pushback, not just from ahli, from my uncles and my aunts were like, yeah, sure, habits away. And look, everybody survived. Everybody was okay. However, you may get isolated or you may be shunned. And so this is where, take a look at the resentments, understand where they're coming from. You can say, okay, I'm a victim, but what do I want to do with this? Do I want to stay a victim? Or how can you take steps to empower yourself to get in touch with your emotions, allow yourself to feel the rage, the hurt, and all these things, and then regulate your emotions by empowering yourself to taking small steps to creating the life that you want? Because there's so much of this, it's the culture and I can't do this. And trust me, for the average Middle Eastern parent, they want you in their life. They don't want to excommunicate you. They don't want you to leave. And so this is where talking to them, building trust, not forcing them, because they're just going to triple down. It's such a waste of energy, and you screaming at them and they're screaming at you. Pull yourself out of that game. That's where, if you're going to address your childhood trauma with your parents, I'm going to encourage you, unless they're open, I probably would not do that. It's better to address it with a therapist, with a close friend, your own self-reflection, and then recognize that they are limited for a variety of reasons. Let's see. Let's take a look. Debilitating. No energy yet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were times, I think, BS 44, thank you so much. Yes, because you can hang out with your family and you're doing all these things that you have. My sister and I talk about this all the time, where you're doing everything for the family. Then you come home and you have no energy left for you. Now, our mothers, and again, I go to our parents, but here we're talking about the mother wound just to stay on topic, is this demand, constant demand, this relentless demands that you sometimes you don't, you're in the swirl that you don't know where you begin and where you end. And this is where self-awareness to go, uh-oh, I'm getting caught up in mom's swirl. She's really anxious. She's in Nerevza. She's in her crazy spiral. And then you're, as a kid or as an adult child, you're going to want to try and fix it, try and clean, try and do this, try and make her slow down. And this is for you to take a step back, stop, take a deep breath, move yourself back and go, okay, do I need to do all these things right now? Because as Arab children, I don't know if this is a generational thing, but if our parents said anything, they say jump, we say how high. When they want something, you get up immediately, right? Binti, when I ask her to do something, and hita kada, this is where the inner Arabi mom comes out. Hita kada, and she's lollygagging. I really have to take a step back. I go, lish hay, she's not getting up. And I said, that's my own stuff. That has nothing to do with her. She will do it when she's ready. But when we're used to this jump how high, this is where you stop, you take a deep breath. Do I need, and as they're in their swirl, you say, do I need to address this right now? Do I need to take my time and my emotion and my energy when you have work demands, your own family demands? Can I just pull and let her be in her swirl without trying to heal it? Of course, unless it's a 911 or some kind of an emergency. All right. I hope that was helpful. I'm just finishing up here. Let's see. How does idleness trigger them so much? Oh, see. I wish I had a good answer for that. That I could tell you, my tete, my grandmother, when she would have like all 12 grandchildren around her. And if we were sitting down chatting, like just engaging in conversation, she'd be like, yes, como, yeah, la, 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 la. Because I think what happens is when they're in their trauma response or they're in Nerevzian and they're anxious, any type of peace or calm can be very triggering for them. Because that is very, very hard when they're in their, oh my God, that's also my grandma and my mom. I know. But you have to remember when they're internally anxious and they're in their trauma response or whatever is going on with them, they have so much judgment. They're dealing with judgment and shame and guilt that when you're idle, which maybe you're just resting, but do you see how we use this word idle or binti kaslane, right? She's just lazy. And I go, no, she worked her butt off in school. She's busy doing all her things, right? She's not idle. She's just resting. But how do we determine that they will be very uncomfortable with rest because they themselves do not have internal rest? And so it's for you to recognize that for yourself, to go, okay, Tetezim Nerevze, we need to get up. So of course, all 12, like we all get up. Okay, Teta, what do you want us to do? Even though the jelly is done, everything's clean. She just wants to see us do something. So then we just get out of her face and we just move to another room. And immediately there's a decrease in anxiety. Let's see, Kalawati Beauty. Hi, good to see you again. It's like it's forbidden for them to just chill and relax. Yes, but you have to remember that's a function. This is where we have to have compassion because they didn't have the luxury many times in their they have so many, we come from a vast culture with so many different experiences, but you have to remember maybe they weren't allowed to rest. They cannot teach you something that they have not experienced themselves. So being able to understand that when our moms are in their hysteria, they're in their shame spiral, how do you not internalize that to try and fix that for them? And many times it's you breathe a lot because you want to fix it because you're that little girl or that little boy inside you is getting anxious. How come mommy is not at peace? And I'm responsible for making her feel at peace. This is where the adult in you needs to take over and go, nope, she's on her path. She's on her journey. And that she is, she will slow herself down. She just needs to let it out. And you don't need to do anything about that. Okay? you don't need to do anything about that. Or use discernment when you say, okay, well, maybe I'll clean the kitchen for her, or maybe I'll do something for her just so maybe she'll feel somewhat alleviated. All right, let's take a look. I have a client soon, so I need to hop off this live. Let's see. Yes, your mom, C said, your mom will ask, what are you doing before how are you? Yes. But oftentimes you have to ask yourself, how often do they ask themselves, how are they doing? And even if you ask them, Yama, how are you doing? And it's this laundry list of negativity. And I'm like, Mom, did anything positive happen in اليوم? She goes, Inti قولي لي الpositive. And I said, طيب أنا بحكي لك الpositive. And usually it's this community that I talk to her about and share with her how wonderful it is that the younger generations can come together to be able to talk about these things, and brings me joy. And in some weird way, it also brings her joy to know that, again, there's things we can do about our wounds. There's always ways that we can heal the mother wound. So for you, I'm really going to encourage you, if you have a lot of pain around your mom, recognize that that's okay. There's no shame in talking about that. Understand that the relationships with our mothers can be profoundly complicated and painful, very, very painful. And how do you reparent yourself in a healthy, loving way? By telling yourself what you needed to hear so that you are worthy of love, that you can self-soothe yourself, so that you're not depending on a partner to self-soothe for you, because he or she can't do that for you either. In the same way you felt powerless to do that for your mom or dad, your partner may feel that same powerlessness. So take a look. How does this mother wound affect me? And it just takes a little bit of journaling, or a little bit like when you snap or you're withdrawn, or if you're avoidant, just stop yourself and go, what's happening within me? What's the core belief I have about myself? And hopefully, if you want to do the work with a healthy, good therapist that can really do the work for you, these TikToks and this stuff that I do, you guys, really, it's just such a small portion. The real work is when you're sitting in space with a trained professional who will be able to really help you work through that. Now, can you work through that without therapy? You would really need to do daily, if not every minute of every day, self-reflection. Is it possible? Yes, of course. But you need to really be mindful. And when I say every minute of every day, this is a lot of work. And it is very hard to get through the mother wound. And next week, next Sunday, 10 a.m. on Cinti Sunday, I hope to see you guys. We're going to talk about the father wound. Now, if you were interested in the YouTube video, go on YouTube. You'll hear a whole hour live on the mother wound. Hopefully it will help you. I really appreciate everybody that was on this live today. I wish you all a very wonderful day and evening. Thank you for those who participated and chimed in. It is such a blessing. And Wednesday, I totally forgot. Wednesday, I'm doing Wadih Wednesday. So if there were questions that you didn't get answered here, send the DM. My assistant Mira kind of puts them in like a document for me. And then hopefully I'll be able to address them this Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. And we will see you either Wednesday or next Sunday. Take care.